Section 7.7, surface area of prisms and cylinders. So we're going to find in this section how to find the surface area. Remember, surface area would be the area on the outside, all of the area. How would we figure that out for a prism and for a cylinder? And to do this, I want to bring us back into SketchUp again, and let's take a look at our rectangular prism. So right here, I've got our prism that we looked at before. You know, our good three-dimensional prism's got all the sides on it and everything. But let's think about this. If we want to look at this side right here, this rectangle right here, it's pretty easy to find that area. Let's say that that was from here to here. Let's say that that was 10 inches, and let's say this was 5 inches. I think most of us can figure out that we could figure out what that would be. It's going to be 5 times 10 or 50 square inches. That's the surface area of this box, the red one right there. Now, if that's the red one, wouldn't you agree that the one on the bottom, on the other side, is going to be exactly the same? You know, all we did, remember, if you recall, I just pulled it up. So that one's going to be the same also. And so the green one would be the same as the one opposite of it, the purple one, and the blue one is going to be the same opposite of it. Now, there's no relationship necessarily between, you know, those, but the opposite sides are always going to be exactly the same. So we could figure out, we know that in general, for a rectangular prism, we could figure out that the surface area is always going to be 2 times, let's say that we called this side the length, this side the width, and let's say we called this side there the height. There are only 3 different lengths in this prism. Those are the 3. So to find the red square, we said length times width. So we'll say length times width. It is also the same as the bottom. So that's why I have the 2 there. So length times width gives me the top. 2 times it gives me the bottom. If I want to figure out the purple side, then what I need, let's do the other one because we'll keep it the same way that the book has it in here. If I want to figure out this side right here, that would be this, which we called L, times the height. That would cover this side. It would also be that side. So for that one, it would be 2 times the length times the height. And then we've got the third side, which is the purple side here. And, you know, this area here, that we said was W. This is H. So that would be W times H. That would be exactly the same in the back. So it would be 2 times W times H. So there's my surface area for a rectangular prism. If we know length, width, and height, we just take those combinations. 2 times the length times the width. 2 times the length times the height. 2 times the width times the height. And that's my surface area for the rectangular prism. So that's how I would figure that out. Alright, so what if you wanted to figure out the surface area of a triangular prism? What if we had a triangular one? So let's take a look at this example. It says skateboarding. A skateboarding ramp called a wedge is built in the shape of a triangular prism. You plan to paint all the surfaces of the ramp. Find the surface area to be painted. Alright, so let's think about this. What do we've got? Well, we've got this side right here. We've got a triangle, and we've got one on the other side that's exactly the same. So we have 2 congruent triangle faces, and then we have some rectangles. We've got a rectangle here, we've got a rectangle in the back, and we've got a rectangle underneath. And down below, down here, they've kind of, you know, spread that all out. So this was the bottom, you know, this was my ramp part, this is the back, and these were the sides, okay? So that's what they've got down here, and all we've got to do then is figure out how far, what is each one of them. So if we, you got to think about this. You got to really sit down and think, what is each particular side as I try to do it. So what, let's start with the triangles. If I want to figure out this triangle side right here, let's figure it out. Well, 54 and 12 are my numbers that I'm going to use. So a triangle is 1/2 times base times height, so 1/2 times 54 times 12. And that's going to give me my triangle. And since there's 2 of them, here'd be the easy thing. Let's just take it times 2 and cancel that out. And so it's going to be 54 times 12, and that's going to equal 648. So I can figure out my triangles, and we've got 648. So let's write that over here. We've got our 2 triangles. That's what that is. Okay, so now let's think about what else do we have. Well, we've got this surface area right here. Let's talk about the top. We've got that surface area, and we know that it's 32 inches wide, and it is how long? Well, according to this, it says it is 55.3 inches. 55.3. Okay? So let's figure out what our area is for that. So that's going to be 32. Let's get some place to write here. 32 times 55.3. Okay? 32 times 55.3 equals 1,769.6. Now, if we want to figure out the back side here, well, let's actually, before we do that, let's move our number over here. So we've got 1,769.6. I'm calling that, let's call that the ramp part. And on the back side, we've got, it's 12 inches high, but it would be the 32 across. So down here we've got 12 by 32. So 12 times 32 is going to equal 384. So let's put that over here, 384. And then we've got one left. And I think I've kind of talked a little bit differently than the way they wrote it out. But so then I'm talking about now the bottom side, and that's going to be 54. I think when I originally told you, I think I said that was the bottom, but that's not that. The way that they have it, that's the ramp part. That's this part right here. But now we've got to figure out the bottom, and the bottom is, let's get some numbers out of here. There's some writing out of here. The bottom is 54 by 32. So 54 times 32, and that's 1,728. So we'll put that over here, 1,728. And when we add all those together, we get 4,529.6 square inches is what we've got. Okay? All right. Why don't you do these? Make sure these get in your notes. I'll be checking that. Make sure you watch the second half of this video. It is split in half, so look for section 7.7b to watch the second half of the video now.